The Late Night Legends podcast is meant for an adult audience only. It may contain sexually oriented content. Content may not be suitable for sensitive listeners. Please be aware of your surroundings. Listener discretion is advised. Watch out.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Late Night Legends Internet Podcast Radio Show. My name is Frank Barrientos, United States of America. I'm here with my legendary hosts, Joan and James. And
Hello.
we have the announcement for you. James, go for it.
And we're throwing it over to me. This is exciting. We have a new host joining us tonight. Jesse, your last name again? McAlpin? McAlpin. Jesse comes to us with a long history of paranormal research, which is super exciting, and I'm sure we'll get to hear all about that. We're excited to have you here, Jesse.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I was going to say the last name doesn't really matter because it's going to change anyway. So
Maybe. Don't force her into anything.
as soon as people memorize it, it's going to change, and then it's going to be awesome because
Good. Keep them on their toes. Reinvent
Exactly.
yourself.
Disappear for 10 years, come back as a count somewhere. Like,
Have a henchman who eats flies. Who knows? It could be fun.
drink Metamucil in your apple cider.
I was making a reference to something.
Whoa!
It's also not Metamucil. It is non-name brand from ShopRite. So
oh, lovely.
What's
Yeah.
ShopRite? What is that?
it's like our
It's a
our
grocery
stores.
store.
Oh, that's what you have instead of Jewel? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse, are you familiar with ShopRite?
No.
ShopRite's, I don't know. Joan, correct me if I'm off base here. ShopRite was always the like discount grocery store in our area. Like,
Not in my area.
because we always had like Stop and Shop.
Stop and Shop's the discount one in my area.
Really?
Yeah.
We
Well,
used
we
to
also have like a Wegmans near us.
Oh yeah, we got a new Wegmans.
We got a
also got
Wegmans,
Food
and now we have a
Town.
we have a Wegmans and a Target.
Oh well, Target's.
we have
No,
Target.
I love a Target.
Let's talk,
no,
let's talk
I'm not
about those
talking down about-
prices. Bowl and
Yes.
Basket versus Archer Farms.
Listen,
We have Market Pantry over here for Target, and we used to have White Hen was our place, and then they got rid of White Hen. Just
I
you remember
do-
the White Hen, right?
Oh yeah.
hold on. I don't know which grocery store it is in Chicago, but the one time I went to Chicago, my friend made it a point to take me to this grocery store, and she lives in Ravenswood, so like in
There's
that area.
the
there was,
Mariano's on Lawrence that I go to. That's in Ravenswood.
but
There's a Pete's like fresh market. That's
you
one.
go
that-
up an escalator, and there's like a wine bar.
Yeah, that's Mariano's.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
It was amazing. The largest wine selection I've ever
That's
seen. It was
where
amazing.
that's where I get my groceries on a weekly basis. I make it a point to do Costco first, and then we go to that Mariano's because it's like a couple
Nice.
miles from where I live.
Nice.
Yeah, I could walk there. It's really, really nice. Actually, down the street from there, there's a really good bagel place called R&A Bagel, where I go to get my bagels.
I also got absolutely blasted at a speakeasy in Chicago. That was a good time.
I got absolutely blasted at a Starbucks in Chicago.
Yeah, you
How did
did.
that happen?
Because they have the Starbucks Reserve there, and they have espresso martini flights.
Oh, my friend's now husband, I guess they must have gotten married at this point, was the bartender of a 13-seat speakeasy in the basement of a hotel. And like you had to know the password to get in. It was tiny, and like he just made us drinks all night. No idea what we were drinking. They were amazing.
That is so fun.
Those places not only exist here, there's a name for them, and I forgot the name, and somebody was telling me about it, and then I also confirmed it on Reddit. Like some places they do that, and there's a lot of places specifically for like first responders, and they get into these secret places with key fobs, no charge, nothing. Free drink.
Nice.
I mean, I paid for most of, when you have a 13-seat bar, it's
The places that I'm mentioning, what I was reading is they're open until 10 a.m. just in case you work like the graveyard shift and then you want to get a drink after work, but like your shift is over at like 7. You still go there with your fob and they'll just serve you. So really cool. Anyway, I wanted to mention, so I mentioned this to Jessie when we were interviewing her. We actually mentioned Jessie on the show. I did. And her partner, Steve, who is one of my childhood best friends. And I use that word very lightly, but I'm pretty sure he may not agree, but that's okay. The point is I grew up with Steve, and not only that, Jessie and I were actually kind of neighbors because she was always at Steve's place. And I think that was a period for over 2 years. But when I mentioned them on this show was way before we even thought that she was going to be on it. In fact, I don't even think I remember Jessie's name at that point. I had met you in passing. I think we stopped and had a conversation. James, you know that chat ends up like on the main screen, yeah?
I'm just telling people the place, the speakeasy, the website to the thing.
Okay. But yeah, so yeah, I remember when I caught back up with Steve and Jessie, Steve had told me that they're still going to the awesome clubs, and he was a DJ and he's doing his thing. And then like even a couple years after that, more recently, I see him on Facebook as he's my, one of my childhood friends, and he's still doing the thing. And I had mentioned maybe just this last summer about how there are people that are my age that are still doing that. And the hosts that we no longer work with on that show were like, no, that's not a thing. Who is it? I was like, no, seriously, it's my friend Steve. And I name dropped Steve and his last name, and then I edited it out in post. But you can still watch that episode. That's a real thing. I mentioned you guys, and no one believed me. Well, here we go. Confirmed. They're living the life.
I will just say, Jessie has never agreed that they still do that. It's just you saying confirmed because she's here. So are you confirming her existence as a person?
Can you confirm that Steve will still do DJing at these awesome clubs where people dance to metal and goth and all this punk shit?
If he got the right offer, he would do it. He hasn't done it because of COVID, though, because everything got all like dumb.
Okay, well, here's what I will say, and maybe you can validate this then. Even though it may not have happened in the last year or two, he still has a lot of pictures that show up in my feed of like past events. Will you at least give me that? Will you concede that? Okay, then we're good.
Now you can say confirmed.
If stuff wasn't out, I'd like pan the camera and be like, and here's all of his DJ equipment.
And it's just covered in a fine layer of dust.
And then there's West, and I think he was at the West one.
Yeah, so that's West, and then the East one is next to the golf course, because I've been to both of those campuses. I didn't attend there. I went to Addison Trail, but it's really crazy to think that Dave Schrader was like, that's his high school.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought too. I was like, what? Oh my God.
I mean, I don't know about you, but like, I don't know like what you and Steve did, but I was always going to that high school for the 4th of July because that's where they have the fireworks, is like right by the high school there.
We actually, the past couple years, yeah, we've been doing that.
It's a really great neighborhood, actually. I really, really like that neighborhood going down the road there. But James and Joan, we've lost them, so let's bring it back.
Oh, hi.
Are you here?
Hi.
I feel like this is sort of a tease for this week and next week for the viewers and listeners, because you being new, you're coming in at a time right before we're going to take our monthly break, and then we're going to come back in the new year really, really strong. And coming up next year, it's going to be really, really cool. I really want to get everybody together for something in January, and hopefully get Kimberly and Shayna even to come on. And Shayna has yet to meet Jesse, so we'll have to set that up. But all right, guys, let's get in it. Joan is going to be talking about one of my favorite things that we really haven't talked about on the show, which is ARGs. There's a very specific one that we're going to talk about tonight. The only other ARG that we ever mentioned or did a show on was the Backrooms, which this is loosely related to, but I will let you take it away.
Thank you. So we're going to be talking tonight about Liminal Land. Liminal Land is an original web analog horror alternate reality game. Lots of words. I should also note I am dyslexic, so give me a minute. It's created by NEXPO and Nick Crowley, both YouTubers who have focused their content on exploring strange, fictional and non-fictional happenings around the internet. Liminal Land is a fictional amusement park created in the winter of 1975 under the Caron Corporation with the intention to rival Disneyland. Located in Lake Valley, New Mexico, the park pushed the idea of what a theme park could be and how much time and money a family could dedicate to it. However, it closed down indefinitely in 1989 after several mysterious disappearances of park goers. So we're going to talk about some key terms first, because I did say a lot of things at you at once. So some things that we could go over before we dive into this lore is alternate reality games. These are a form of media designed to have its audience interact with it with puzzles or choices which affect the story. Stereotypically, these ARGs fall into a category called unfiction. Unfiction is a form of immersive storytelling where the story exists on its own fictional world, but presents itself as if it belongs in our reality, leaving those who stumble across them randomly to have to pause for a moment and decide if this is real or not. The analog horror genre focuses on telling a story using seemingly found media from the early 20th century. A common form of this is found footage. However, the reason I say media is because consumers of these analog horror ARGs have witnessed footage, posters, recordings, and even animation supposedly coming from this time period. Liminal Land has been discussed Liminal Spaces has been discussed in a previous episode. If you want to listen to that, it's titled The Backrooms, as mentioned before. But just a brief reminder, liminal spaces are typically an image of an empty space, which is a generic enough feel, familiar, but due to lacking its usual context, the place feels eerie and falls into the uncanny valley. I scared James so badly. I'm so sorry.
He had to sign off. He was so terrified. I get it.
Yeah. So while we wait, James, we can go back to Liminal Land. The story goes across several websites, but the main portion of it derives from visitliminalland.net. Here you can find what appears to be an archive of the theme park, including pages titled Attractions, Accommodations, Archives Gallery, Intervention, About Liminal Land, and Gift Shop. About Liminal Land tells us the mission statement of Liminal Land's parent company, Caron Corporation. Quote, "From the beginning, Liminal Land was always embedded with one mission, to dethrone Disneyland as the go-to destination for thrill seekers of all ages. Coasters that evoke emotion, a multi-tiered water park, a massive underground suburbia were among the experiences being tested while the park was open. And to this day, debates are plentiful on whether Caron actually achieved their goal of industry dominance," unquote. In this strive to be the best, park goers were used as test subjects, and even though numerous accidents took place, the park never had an official investigation, audit, or inspection. After an incident, they would just close for the day and reopen the next like nothing had happened. Any questions so far?
No, but I love it. I also wanted to just quickly mention to any sharp listeners out there, many times for this show, our closing song is a song. It's open source song called Black Heat, public domain, but it's also NEXPO's closing song. So it's sort of a homage to them because they're somebody he's somebody who's personally influenced me to do this. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Do love NEXPO. Okay. The last paragraph of the section I mentioned before lets us know the fate of the park as well as the start of the mystery for the audience. Quote, unfortunately, on the May 20th of 1989, Liminal Land's day of reckoning had come. That night, the park was rapidly and indefinitely shut down, with no concrete reason ever being given. The remains of those present on that fateful night are rumored to remain exactly where they were last seen. Although nobody really knows for sure, the theme park preservationists are keen to keep the spirit of Liminal Land alive. However, there has never been nothing like it for decades, and probably never will. Unquote. The attractions section shows us images of some of these experimental rides, like the roller coaster named the Laugh Track, which had an 8-minute long runtime with specialized constraints that forced riders to laugh.
What the fuck?
So what do you think about that? 8 minutes of laughing.
Constraints make you laugh like a
They make you laugh.
Okay.
Of course, laughing for 8 minutes straight would leave anyone out of breath, and potential asphyxiation was being studied by the rider. But riders didn't seem to mind since no one ever filed an official complaint. The horror really comes from the AI they clearly used to make some of these images for the website. I am now going to show you examples. And since this is sometimes a visual medium, we will need you each to describe one of the photos I show.
Oh boy, audience participation.
On first.
So let me share my screen.
Jesse, you go first. You're the newbie.
You have to go first. So this is
A tiny
first
screen.
one.
I'm gonna like do that. You can't see me.
So this is the laugh track. Don't look too closely at anyone's given face, but also look too closely at anyone's given face.
Why are they all naked?
I think
Except for that one chick.
all details. It looks like mist and it looks like people are on a water slide, honestly.
It's log flumish.
Yeah, I think so.
I just love that the AI is doing that thing where like it can't tell what's an eye and what's a mouth when it makes it.
Oh,
So
God.
everything becomes an eye and a mouth.
It's all nightmare fuel.
So that's photo number 1. Here's photo number 2. It's just a nice family. Don't worry, guys.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I think, listen, the hair is impeccable.
Don't look at anyone's
weird.
hands, though.
The hands are okay.
Don't count fingers. Look at the one hand in the middle.
Joan, what is this?
So for the listeners, this is a happy family photo underneath, almost like it looks like a little like bus stop that's like a family's sitting getting their photo taken. It says Liminal Land on top. You see a coaster in the background, but the hair is just slightly too big. It's all very 70s and just big. I don't know how else to describe it. It is like the hair, the faces are normal proportion. The hair
also-
is just
I like if you look at the mom. If you look real close, she has one full jean leg and then one jean short leg.
But it almost is also as if like her foot has also merged with her daughter's foot.
Yes, and the dad, no legs to be found, but
No,
we won't
not a
judge him
single
for that.
leg.
So here's the last one. I'm assuming this is also the laugh track, but cannot confirm.
Oh.
Oh, God. They're
Okay.
laughing, though.
I would love to meet the engineer who designed this coaster.
Dizzy just looking at it.
But once again, don't like look at any face too closely, but also
at
look way
every
too closely.
face. Oh boy. It also like, how many passengers does that fit at one time?
Too many.
There was one ride on there. I didn't quote this, but there was one ride that like seats up to like over 100 people at a time on it, and it was rarely ever full, is what was said.
This feels like a very is anyone familiar with the documentary Class Action Park?
No.
Is it based on Action Park,
Yes, it is.
which is now
it's a
Mountain
document-
Creek?
Which I was just at a wedding at, and it was amazing because you took the gondola up and you could see
Yeah.
the ruins of Action.
Oh wow.
It's a very
It's
pretty
amazing.
wedding venue.
Oh, it was
but
gorgeous.
yeah,
It was cold. It was very cold. And they served us ice water at the top of the mountain. But it was 60 something degrees. Anyway, this feels very much like if Class Action Park and like Tim Burton had a hellspawn.
right? A lot of reviewing this reminded me of Action Park.
So, for those interested, there's a documentary called Class Action Park that is about this like theme park in New Jersey that is just, I don't know how, it's just wild. It's like teenagers got to build a theme park run by a crazy rich dude.
It's one of those theme parks where if you ask any parent, like if you ask my parents about it, they'll go, "Oh my god, I remember when I broke my leg on that ride. It was so much fun." And you're like, "That's not fun."
I had a concussion.
So many scrapes. So I will stop sharing now and can get back to our story.
Drop my mic all over the place.
So as I said, these are probably AI photos. However, they might not be AI, since some investigation video later on in the website will tell you about people who come out with facial deformities from some of these rides.
Oh, so the flaw is a feature?
Yeah. It's meant to be that way.
You know, what was it when we used to grow up? Like, oh, better change the look on your face, otherwise it's gonna stay like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought you were gonna say the more triggering one for me, which is like, you better not cry or you better stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. And I was like, oh, that hurts my feelings when you say that, even as an adult.
I've had both. I've had both of those wonderful things said to me.
I've said both of them to my child.
Oh, James.
James.
Listen.
Listen.
When you have a 4-year-old crying because you got her the wrong kind of cheese, no.
What kind of cheese did she want and what kind did you get?
The answer is it was always going to be a wrong cheese. That's the thing about 4-year-olds.
Sometimes they're just sleepy, Frank. They just need a little.
Sometimes,
and then they nap and then they rip your face off.
Sometimes they just need a little threat. I get it.
I didn't say that. Anyway, though, we can all agree where the real money comes from at these theme parks.
Merchandise.
Oh, not even merchandise. It's the hotel stay experience.
Okay, yeah.
Accommodations tells us about a very experimental way that Liminal Land was trying this. Known as the holistic and opportune mutual experience, or HOME. Holistic.
Yeah.
Opportune. Yeah. Mutual.
Yep, we got it.
Experience.
Yep.
It's a visual gag. I'm trying to help you out. This project was in underground suburbia created to be perfect for families who traveled from out of state. Built from the once Lake Valley Observatory employee housing, the site was used, as I said, for the clean energy facilities, workers and their families, and at this time creating one of the largest underground communities in all of existence. Using 1950s decor, but 80s sensibilities, HOME was made to feel cozy as, quote, Karen sought to keep guests inside the park for as long as possible in hopes of maximizing profits. Because of this goal, HOME would be the only in-park hotel offered to guests, reportedly containing around 10,000 congruent operational rooms at its peak, spread out over a handful of square miles underneath Liminal Land. Unquote.
Yeah, do they have like, is there a childcare section? If I as a parent wanted to like go get a drink at a bar, like I need to know about these facilities here, okay? If like
Do we want to take a quick detour to see what home looked like? I did not pull those out, but I can show them very quickly to us.
Yes, please.
This is also giving Limetown. This is
I don't want to do that. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying this whole thing is also giving Limetown. No, Limetown podcast. Good.
Nope.
It's a good one. They turned it into a TV series with Jessica Biel, who would then, this is where Super Bowls cross over here. Her character really liked to masturbate listening to people's radio interviews. It was a very weird choice for the TV series.
That sounds like a weird direction.
It was a very weird direction. The podcast is good though.
I think Lord Cronus would like it though.
So here are just some of the welcome home. Here are some of the accommodations. Okay. As you can see, this is Liminal Land, and home is underneath. So here's just some nice photos of this underground facility.
No.
It's okay. We haven't gotten to the bathrooms yet. Once again,
it's a choice.
The AI is so great in this. Every kitchen has 5 stoves at least, or like 3 to 5 stoves. So stove. AI only thinks that stoves belong in kitchens. Bathroom.
Yeah.
Is that blood all over the floor? What is that?
Rust, probably, but also very large tiles.
Very bedroom.
That's not terrible.
Closet.
Not a bad closet.
Washing. Bathroom.
Why are you standing up for Liminal Land, man? That's scary.
Bathroom.
I'd like to go to there.
I've stayed in some shitty hotels across America.
This is the childcare area.
James, okay. Baby's there.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Inside garden, because why not? Spice it up.
Listen. Okay. Feels very like, I won't say hostile, not like aggressive, but like.
Did you want to put your baby here?
No, I don't.
Also, bathroom.
It's a very strange bathroom.
Laundry.
That's honestly not the worst laundry room I've ever seen in my entire life. Let's be real.
The closets are really not bad. I'm a little jelly on the closet.
They're good closets.
This is what I imagine
bedrooms.
France to look like. Like if you go to France, like this is what I think.
This is what I think of like, I don't know, Bulgaria, like Eastern European. No offense to any Eastern Europeans out there.
Also,
like
bathroom.
Hotel in the Soviet Union. That's what this looks like.
I'm Bulgarian, and that's why I'm laughing so hard.
Are you really?
Way to go, James. Way to go. Her first show.
Yes.
I don't know what this room of pipes is, but I'm loving it.
It's a pipe room.
It's just a radiator room. It's the only source of heat, I assume.
Made out of like banisters that go on a flight of stairs. Like that's what that looked like.
So, like, are these all not real pictures then? Like, none of
Yeah,
this...
these are, I'm assumingly AI generated. None of this is real. So, it's made to seem kind of like, maybe it could have happened.
That's actually not bad.
Yeah, once again, 3 stoves. So, you're good there.
You got an oven and then a stovetop.
And then possibly a dishwasher on top of your oven.
Oh my gosh.
This looks like Grandma's kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, more childcare.
This looks like the
inside. How like they think that like childcare means everything needs to be blue or pink.
Yeah, right. I just thought that too. Pink everywhere.
Another bathroom. Remember, it's 1950s style with 80s sensibilities.
Is that like a sponge?
I think it leaked insulation. What my husband and I thought it might be.
Sure.
It kind of all these remind me of the game Fallout.
Yes.
All the time, and it's the same thing. It's like 50s, like retro, but like technology as well. So that's what this is making me think of.
Yeah. These are something else. So what is the actual like game in all of this?
So this is not a game necessarily.
Okay.
It is more of just like the horror story of it, though there are clues. Oh, we don't need to share my screen anymore. Okay. So these are more just like getting you into the story. So this is more of an unfiction immersive storytelling. Though there is a part, and I can just say this now, there is a part that on the website that's blocked by a password. And at one point you had to watch the videos to find the password, but that password from the videos no longer works. So I'm sure they'll put out a new video, which will be the new password at some point that you can then go see what's being blocked. So like that's like a nice thing about these ARGs or these unfiction stories is that blocking certain things or feeding people clues allows for people to be able to like put things out in a timely manner and really get a good story going. I know one that did a really good job of this was it was a Twitter like log called like there's no more sun, or the sun's gone.
Oh yeah.
The sun has vanished.
The sun has vanished. There we go. And like they would be like, I'm going offline now, and it was the perfect excuse for them not to come back for a very long time. So, and being able to take pauses in your story and really think about like where you want to go next with it, I think it's clever personally. But back to home. What did I say? I said this. This later led to them being able to sell units of home and make some of the guests permanent residents of home.
Permanent.
Yeah, you want to live there forever, James?
Nope, sure don't. Well, what's the schools like?
In Liminal Land? It's based off Disneyland and probably like Disney World, so let's assume
Not
roughly those schools around there.
So Florida.
Oh, God.
So Florida.
California. Anyway, clicking through the archive pages, hidden amongst expected promotional media and building photos, you can find cracks in the delusional happiness that Liminal Land is trying to sell. There are training videos instructing employees how they should conduct themselves, while with suggesting how to distract dissatisfied customers with other park attractions, how to identify inconveniences in home units, such as windows and doors in bedrooms. We can't have those. And to not follow the strange sounds that they may hear coming from home. All throughout these videos, messages will be quickly displayed, seeming to come from someone outside trying to warn us about the park. There are notes found discussing the police looking into the park, employees claiming to hear screams from the halls of home. We can also find videos on the police investigations about those who have been disfigured, injured, killed, or gone missing while at Liminal Land. In our particularly haunting video, we see the end of a news broadcast, which plays the national anthem, and then finishes its sign-off with a public service announcement, asking for any information about the pictured missing person. There is a total of 9 missing people featured. Liminal Land is an ongoing project, and even tonight I have not even begun to describe the depths of the lore being created. I highly suggest that if you're into this mystery, you should check out the website and visit it, liminalland.net. So that is the beginning crops of Liminal Land. Do we have questions for the class?
Well, yeah, when did this first come on the interwebs?
NEXPO and Nick Crowley have been advertising Liminal Land since the beginning of last year, I believe. They started with merch. And then they created the website and the YouTube channel for it as well. They've also been on their own endeavors as YouTubers currently ghost hunting. So they've been promoting it while doing that as well.
Because it's funny because it feels there's a lot of early, as weird as this, it brought up Limetown, but it feels very much of the early days of podcast storytelling had a lot of this general vibe to it. So you had shows like Limetown, which was about a research, a town that was taken over by a research thing, and a girl is investigating because her uncle went missing, and there was an incident that happened there. Then it's the same sort of thing. People work together, live together, experiments, all of that. and then you've got like Welcome to Night Vale,
Yeah.
which feels very of like akin to this. You know, it's that sort of offbeat, recognizable but twisted sort of thing.
Yeah. I will say that they are going about this a very interesting way. Most unfiction stories I've heard of do not openly advertise themselves as such.
Mm.
Usually the way that you'll go about it is you'll come across a weird Twitter thread, or someone else will say something on Reddit. You might just stumble on YouTube like videos that just don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into this story. So having them, I don't know if like it means the magic's taken out, or like they're so big that like they would have to do it this way anyway to get their project noticed, and they don't want to like just risk not having their project noticed. Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
is there? Sorry, I was frozen. But did you define what unfiction is? That's not a term that I've heard.
I did a little bit at the beginning, but you were so scared of it that you ran away. So I will define it again. No, you were scared. You were
so
scared. Admit it. So I just have to go back in my notes and find. No, I'll just kidding. Unfiction is defined by Webster's dictionary as.
Well, what's the Joan version? Give me the Joan.
This is the Joan version. There we go. Unfiction. I just had to do like Control F. I don't know why I didn't begin with. Unfiction is a form of immersive storytelling where the story exists in its own fictional world but presents itself as if it belongs in our reality.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the way I like to think of it is like it's a fiction that you read that messes with your head because it'll actually reference real life events, and it'll have you questioning like, okay, I know that really happened, but then it'll put in a fiction, you know, sort of element to it. So
like the JFK assassination.
Yeah, I mean, along your journey, you're going to be like, what's fiction and what's not, because it'll try to blend both. Like that to me, like what it is.
Not like the JFK assassination, because everyone knows JFK didn't exist.
Listen, James, he's poking fun. He knows about that I've been looking into JFK. I actually stopped.
Really? Well, Jewel, did I tell you it was? I don't know. I was telling my wife about this. There's a new JFK assassination podcast coming out that is Rob Reiner, aka the director of Princess Bride, and celebrated international journalist Soledad O'Brien are doing an investigative podcast where they claim they have solved it.
I think it's already solved. I saw a documentary after watching it with an open mind. I really think it's completely solved, and I feel like I watched and got to the bottom of it. And there's aliens. Well, no, I wouldn't say aliens, but what I'd like to reference as far as that goes before we talk about Liminal Land again is if you guys watch Law and Order SVU, there's an actor who plays Detective Munch on that show, which is Richard Belzer. Mm-hmm. He actually wrote a couple of books on the JFK assassination, and I happen to be recommended one of his press conferences for his book. And one of the questions like he got during the press conference was like, who shot him? And the thing about it was so many people were involved who didn't shoot him, which is hilarious because really the only person not involved was like JFK's wife. Everybody else was basically, basically everybody else was in on it. And I would like to recommend a documentary to anybody who wants to watch what I think is the definitive tell-all documentary on it. It's on YouTube. It's called Everything is a Rich Man's Trick. And it actually discusses JFK all the way to like how things play into 9/11. And it's super conspiracy theorist, but actually it tells it in a way where it's like not tinfoil hat. It's like, here are facts. You decide if you think they're true. And so good. I watched that and was like, it made me feel like the first time I read about like 9/11 conspiracies. Like it excited me. So I really will recommend that. It's hard to get.
This feels like a rabbit hole that I'm not sure if I want to tell people to go down.
Oh no.
Guys, it's awesome. Honestly, like that is the mystery of the century, you know, the JFK assassination. And
You know what's funny is of all the presidential assassinations, that one bores me. It's my second least favorite.
Oh my god, are you a hipster of presidential
Yeah.
assassinations?
I have them ranked.
He's got like his blood orange martini, and he's like, "Let me tell you about a better assassination."
I will tell you about it. No, it's just whatever. It's like, yes, okay, magic bullet. Oh,
You know what it is?
spooky.
I'll tell you what it is. Here's what I think it is, James. I think it's because it's the most recent,
Yeah.
and people kind of can watch footage and be like, "Oh, this looks like it could have happened."
Dissect it and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also the other ones were a lot more close quarters and cut and dry. Like the person who did it, everybody saw. Like you don't have like that whole sniper.
There's something about reading about history, you know, especially like older history, where like you just have this, like you're convinced going into it that like, oh, a lot of wacky shit happened in the olden days. You know what I mean? And like when you watch like Kennedy stuff, it's like it doesn't seem as olden days anymore.
No.
It actually is really. Even if they were to like pop open that case and say definitively like this person did it, this is how it happened, everyone's dead already.
And also people will still be like, nope.
Not only that, but like, you know, people will like, maybe there might be one or two people that actually like might do jail time, but like in the big picture, like nobody will care. Honestly,
Yeah.
like you will care. Nobody will really get punished that badly. There might be one or two people still alive, but like nothing will happen. And I think that was the consensus on a recent front page Reddit post, because they were just talking about it on Reddit a couple months ago, because a couple months ago was supposed to be when they were supposed to like do a big disclosure about it, and they promised a disclosure, and then Biden came out and was like, yeah, we're just not going to do it yet. And his reasoning was like, people are not ready for it. So it's like, okay, clearly people have been ready. No one's going to care.
Yeah.
People will be upset and shocked, but like at the same time, we're always like, so like everybody's shocked by social media anyway. I feel like it would be nothing anyhow. Like everybody would be like, oh yeah, that was wrong. But then they're going to move on to the next fucking whatever is going on.
I wonder if there's like so much stuff going on without naming names of what's going on in the world currently. That it's like, I don't feel like arguing with people about, no, this can't be right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, it would be a good time to release big news. A lot of big news things are currently happening that are a little more distracting.
I was gonna say they want to keep everybody distracted from other stuff.
They're
Yeah.
saving it. They're saving it. They're savoring it. They're gonna wait, and they're gonna.
It's like what, two days till the anniversary anyway,
Something like that.
right?
Yeah.
November 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
I only know that because of the Hulu TV series with James Franco.
And I know that because November 22nd is my ex's birthday, so I remember that date.
Oh, fun.
Is your ex my uncle? Because that's his birthday.
Man, how does he look in a wig? Because he might be.
Well, I should have mentioned this before. Joan, you said May 20th, 1998 was the day that the Liminal Land closed down?
1989.
1989, that's what I meant?
Yeah.
That was my due date. I'm the reason that Liminal Land closed down.
Oh my gosh!
It came full circle.
It all goes to the top.
What? I don't always get to play that Skeletor what drop.
What?
I'm welcome. You're welcome for that.
Oh my gosh. That's why I picked it. Was for James.
It's always this whole podcast is just for me.
It is.
Honestly,
This is the true conspiracy is how this is the Truman Show for James.
I actually love it.
Horrifying.
And I love, because I like before this even came up as a thing, for years I've been watching NEXPO and Nick Crowley, and they both have very different content. I think out of the pair, NEXPO is the guy that studies ARGs and breaks them down to the point where like some of the ARGs that he breaks down, he'll make like a 3-hour long video, and like I stopped caring after the first hour. I've done that. But Nick Crowley does some really good stuff where he'll like release, like my favorite content from his channel are like the darkest videos on YouTube. And so he'll feature different YouTube videos that like are still in existence, whether it's like, I mean, ones that come to mind are like, there's like a news anchor that committed suicide on air that was on YouTube.
Christine, what's her face? Yeah.
Yeah, there was like people getting kidnapped on camera. There was like a child molester, pedophile that was creating. He had a YouTube channel where he's singing songs to children that everybody thought he was like the cool grandpa type.
Yeah, he does a lot of like actual like things that are happening. That's why like I mentioned strange fictional and non-fictional things on the internet as well.
One of my other favorite things that he covered was there was that app that we've referenced it a few times on this show in the past, where it's like the app where you can open it up and then you could just give it a word that's your intention, and then it'll give you coordinates to follow.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, I did that one time.
Yeah, so like there's a YouTube video out there with a group of kids that did it.
And they found the suitcases.
Yeah.
They found the suitcases
Oh,
with the,
I know about that.
on the beach. Like he covered that, and the thing about it is I think where they both really excel is they've both got like ASMR level nice voices, both of them, and they know it and they play into it, and really their videos are like half of the appeal is their narration of the content.
If you're gonna talk about ARGs and narrating voices, you need to talk about Nick Nocturne. I love Nick Nocturne in Night Mind Channel.
Here's a true story about ARGs. When we interviewed Joan, we didn't actually hire Joan immediately, but when we were doing her interview and she mentioned "Don't hug me, I'm scared," I'm like, I want to hire her. Like in my head, like I was the light switch for me. I was like, all right, let's do it. And then we didn't. Sorry, Joe.
We just sent her on an ARG of her own.
Yeah, called Life. My unfiction life. I've been looking for clues everywhere. Been searching to see if there is Morse code in my everyday things. What's another common one? The end of a YouTube video link written in the dirt near my house. I've been looking everywhere and there's been no clues.
Joan, have you been following? So Kane Pixels is the YouTube creator who invented the backrooms. Recently, Kane Pixels has had a new ARG that he's been making. It's the same concept of entering into a liminal space. This particular new series that he's got is him in an abandoned shopping mall, and he gets to it by going down a long tunnel. Like he'll find, I think it's like it starts with him like finding a bomb shelter, and it's just a staircase, and he's like filming it. He ends up just walking downstairs that go down for like 2 or 3 miles, depending on how you perceive it. Then he gets into like an abandoned mall, walks around for like 3 or 4 videos, and then like giants appear that are like coming towards him. Have you seen this at all or not yet?
I have not. I will quickly say before you go on with that, he is with A24 directing a Backrooms movie, and I'm very excited to have the creator of that series. And like a lot of people have done things with the Backrooms, but he's been the most successful. Yeah. I am very excited that they wanted him as the director for that. So when that movie comes out, I will see it. Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Go on. There's another A24 movie coming out with Nicolas Cage, and it's like he's in everyone's dreams, and it reminds me of that other ARG with the "Have you seen this man?"
Oh, that ARG is a good one, but I don't know. I like Nick Cage for some things. I just feel like he's got his foot into this genre, and I didn't like him in that. He did that movie that was like a Five Nights at Freddy's knockoff. I really didn't like him in that. I really. You didn't know about that? Where he's like
But now they are doing a Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
That one
it's out.
They did a different one, and it wasn't Five Nights at Freddy's, but it was inspired by it. And it was with Nick Cage, and I just really hated it. Hold on, let me look it up.
Well, there's like if you want to talk about alternate like ARGs that were made into TV series or movies, there is the TV show Dispatches from Elsewhere that was based on, it was Jason Segel wrote it, I believe, starring actually someone I used to work with at a coffee shop, Eve, I forget her last name, but she's an actress, and but it's based on the ARG called the Jejune Institute, and it took place in San Francisco in the early 2000s. You would see a poster somewhere with like a phone number, and it would take you to a place, and it would be like I
believe the Jejune Institute is the same group of people who also did the ARG that went along with Lost when that was airing.
Yeah, probably.
So like they're the same group, and also like the movie AI, I think it is, was supposed to have an ARG attached to it, but like did not do well.
There's a few movies that have tried to do that. There's like those what are they called, the Clover Paradox movies?
Oh the Cloverfield. Oh my god, I felt so old at work the other day. me and my coworker referenced it because we're the oldest, and literally no one had heard of it.
Yeah,
It was
that marketing team tried to do ARG, and then what is it?
it was really big in the early 2000s. Like
Yeah.
that was like the whole everything had a tie-in website.
I mentioned the June experiment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the June experiment I know was based on an actual real life thing that was questionably an ARG, which was called NeuroCam, where somebody somewhere, and I think Nick Crowley covered this on his channel or NEXPO, one of the two. NeuroCam was this thing where somebody was really renting billboards around this particular area, and all the billboard said is, "What is NeuroCam?" And it would be literally like people would follow clues. This was real life. This is not like an ARG where it's like, oh, this is for a movie, this is for a YouTube video. Like this was something that really happened, and a lot of people have like theorized it's like a recruiting thing for
Well,
like.
look, that was the Jejune. That was what the Jejune was.
Yeah.
Was like in real life thing, and then they did a documentary about it called The Institute, and then they did a TV series about people playing the game.
You got to connect the dots on all of these things,
Yeah.
and like present them in a more digestible way to the audience. Because I definitely don't know everything, but I feel like you guys know some things that I don't, and I might know some things that you might be interested in.
Yeah.
We should somehow get them out there.
A crazy. This also kind of reminds me of like about like ARGs and like things in real life. Have you anyone ever heard of the Toynbee tiles?
No, I have not.
No.
Okay. Other crazy sort of thing. So there's still some in existence, and if you walk around Manhattan, you'll see them embedded in older roads. There was one actually on my way to work, and it said Toynbee tile resurrect dead on Mars. It was find a picture of it. So they were these vinyl tiles.
And they're into the road, into the real road in real life.
Embedded into the real road, and they were all over.
Jesse, how you feeling about this? You feeling? What would you do if you saw a tile that said something like this?
This is all new to me. My brain hurts a little bit.
So they say Toynbee idea in movie 2001 resurrect dead on planet Jupiter, and there were hundreds, and no one knew where they were coming from.
Wow.
And they were able to sort of figure out how this guy did it, where he cut the vinyl things, wrapped it in tar paper, and then had cut a hole in his car and would drop it through the hole onto the road, and then the heat of the car was rolling over it would melt the tar, and it would like set into it. But it was this guy, they never figured out exactly who it is. There's a brilliant documentary called Resurrect Dead about it, and there's so few of them left now because the roads have just gotten paved over, but like you can still find like a couple of them in existence, but no one quite knew what it was, and it all was sort of like pre-internet.
Are there any like prevalent theories at least?
There's this one guy who was like a recluse in Philadelphia, they think would drive up to New York and drop these, and he had like a car that had this giant antenna on it that would disrupt radio signals and stuff like that. And it was like there was also an incident where the radio waves in his neighborhood got hijacked at one point. They think it all ties into it. It's been a while since I've watched the documentary, but it's like it is just
Great.
one of those like mysteries that like no one, clearly it was the work of someone whose mind was in another place, but did this like crazy thing that then made people wonder and engaged with it, whether or not he like had that intent. But it was all about like dying, and then your body gets resurrected on the planet Jupiter.
Oh, sweet.
Because of something to do with the movie 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh.
It's a Kubrick
I
movie.
guess still sweet.
The theorists are all around a lot of his movies. They're, obviously there's like some theorists say that The Shining was a whole canvas for him to communicate that the moon landing was fake. There's a lot of things in that movie where like people have interpreted decisions made in the filming of that movie to suggest things. So if you're into that, go ahead and watch it. I would also say that if you come across like a YouTube where it kind of breaks that down, really watch it, because for some reason, and this is real, there are documentaries that people will put up about specifically that topic, and then those get taken down, and people have to continually put them up because they keep getting taken down. So if you find specifically a YouTube video on that, watch it, because you may not be able to, because like, I don't know why it happens. Maybe it's because it's like the misinformation thing, because like YouTube will try to identify misinformation and like take it down. But that's one of the things that gets taken down a lot. And I don't think it should, honestly, because even if it's just a theory, like it comes out and it's like, oh, this is a theory. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I don't know where I stand. I'm going to say this, and maybe it'll make you guys think I'm weird, but like, I don't know where I stand on the moon landing. I think we went there, but like, part of me thinks like there's a lot suggesting that maybe we didn't. I don't know. I'm on the fence.
I think we've been there.
I think we're
Like,
more
can't
likely
we
to-
see the bags of poop that we left up there by a
Yeah,
telescope?
it's things like that.
That's a weird thing to find by a telescope, if that's what we're gonna
Did we see
find.
the poop we left up there?
We left,
Pretty
yeah,
sure
we
we
know where to
do.
put it. They pooped in bags and left it up there.
Yeah.
I always thought it was kind of strange and like eerily really like terrifying that like, okay, we make it up there, right? Like, let's say we get up there, we get the astronauts up there. What if the equipment failed and they couldn't make the return? They would be going up there to die, and they would have done TV, the televised first step, and then they would have just stayed there to die. Like, isn't that weird to you guys? That like,
But I mean, Challenger, Olympia, like,
yeah, I remember
we've
that.
televised people do like that. To me is not
Like, for me, the difference between that and the Challengers, like the Challenger exploded, that was unplanned, but us
right.
landing,
But also, them not being able to return would also be unplanned.
We also, I think I'm correct, the Vietnam War had not happened. We had not really fully understood what putting something traumatic into people's homes would do.
Right.
So, like, we were like, yeah, no, they can see someone dying. We had, like, public
Yeah.
lynchings, like, what, 2 years ago? It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I do understand like the whole idea of like, we televised it because we wanted to be the first, and maybe we did eventually make it, but like that first one wasn't. It's sort of, I think that, and this is where I get like, there are so many people who were a part of making it happen, like the actual like giant teams of computer scientists and mathematicians doing the calculations, doing all of that I think that it becomes like the idea where a lot of conspiracy theories fall apart for me, especially like these big government ones, is like any group project, the sheer amount of people who
have had to lie and be in on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly
It's-
like
So
It's
there-
that Benjamin Franklin saying of, like, 3 men won't tell a story if 2 of them are dead.
oh yeah, like 2 can keep a secret, or
Yeah,
3
2 can keep a secret,
if 2 can-
or if one of them is dead. That, yeah.
yeah.
But
I
it's
will-
also, there's a podcast called The Stuff They Don't Want You to Know, which, like, we'll talk about sometimes conspiracy theories, but one of the things that they're like, the larger it is, like, the more people who know, the less likely it's a conspiracy theory.
Mhm.
I
Or
will
true.
also say that in my sort of looking into the assassination of JFK, one of the things that has popped up organically is there's a conversation that JFK has with NASA about putting a man on the moon. And there's a NASA scientist who's like one of the people in charge. Are like, cannot happen in our lifetime, will not happen in our lifetime. And he's trying to push so hard for it in this phone call that got leaked. You can tell like he's pushing hard, like he wants to beat the Soviet Union to the moon. Like the scientist in this call is like, it will not happen in our lifetime. We can't do it. There's no fucking way. And it's weird that it
We
places
do it a couple years later.
I mean, yeah, it places this doubt in your head. You know what I mean? That's what conspiracy theories are. It places a doubt, so you might just
Yeah,
want to think of an alternative.
On something like that though, like one scientist saying it's ever going to happen is like, you also have like plenty of scientists who are doubtful to begin with, or like no one is saying that a person in power who is a scientist is always the smartest most qualified. You know, like that's the thing. So like, while he might say it might not happen in our lifetime, there's plenty of things that people say could never happen in our lifetime that do, and people are very frequently proven wrong about that. Like that to me is just like that one guy was like never gonna happen, and then, you know, someone has a breakthrough and then they're able to do it. Like,
you know what I've always wondered about space? You guys remember in Armageddon, why was it easier to train oil drillers to become astronauts and not to train astronauts to become oil drillers? Why? Because
because Liv Tyler needed a star vehicle.
I was watching the commentary, like the DVD commentary, and Ben Affleck's like, how hard could it be? Point the drill at the ground and turn it on. All right, guys. Joan, do you have anything else on Liminal Land?
Is there anything else that y'all have questions about?
I'm gonna have to research it honestly on my own.
It's go to visit liminalland.net. Because it's a podcast form, it's a little bit hard to describe everything that's going on. I highly suggest you all take time to watch the videos that you can find on the website. That gives a lot more of the pieces to the lore. But, you know, overall, it's just a mystery of why did this place shut down? And was the Karen company really have the best interest of its patrons in mind?
Also,
just no.
I do have a question. Is it something that's still going to be ongoing? Is there new content coming out for it?
So as mentioned previously, there was a password protected portion of the site that has now been it's still password protected, but they changed the password. So I assume that the clues that you will need to find to get into this back area will be in upcoming videos. Because, for example, it asks you what's the password, and in one of the videos it mentions like the right. So the password originally was like rite of passage, and if you type that in now, it does not work. I tried. And if you are looking for someone to go through the whole website with you, I would highly suggest going to Loie Lane's YouTube account and watching her go through the website. She did a stream with it where she went through every piece of it.
All right. Let's what do you guys think about final thoughts? James, are you okay?
I'm just trying to think of do I have any thoughts that I have not already expressed?
Squeeze them out, James. Squeeze them.
Juice them like an orange.
Someone else go first. Someone else.
Joan, you want to go first? Because I go last.
Sure. Liminal Land is real. That's my hot take. No, I'm kidding. That's not my take. I am very excited to see the rest of this project come out. It's clearly worked on very hard. And actually, my last take is that if you're going to do AI art, you might as well make it for your creepy ARG. And it's okay then if the AI does not know the difference between a mouth and an eyeball. It just works out in the end.
James, you want to go next?
Jesse, go Jesse.
Go Jesse.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, I've never heard of any of this. I didn't even know what an ARG was until today. So this is definitely something I'm going to look into more so I can educate myself a little bit more. It's definitely interesting.
I think my final thoughts are that I just don't know enough about internet culture lately.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
YouTubers and ARGs. And...
It's a lot to follow. I'll give you that. First, I want to say that thank you, Joan, for having such a wonderful topic that I know that I personally enjoy a lot. For me, the more terrifying thing is terrifying as that can be the whole idea of liminal land. The thing that terrifies me personally more is how far we've come with AI and producing these images. It makes me really terrified for when they're able to produce images where it's going to be really difficult for people to tell reality from disinformation. Like for me, that's scary because it's not just images, it's also audio and voices.
Oh yeah.
It's for me, it's scary. But
we should cover the AI ghost at one point too.
We should cover.
I haven't heard about her for a while, so I wonder if there's anything new with Loeb.
We can. I think we should approach it in 2024 for sure.
We should.
All right. So on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you to Jessie for joining our crew. She's going to be a permanent fixture. Very excited to work with her. I know that she's going to bring to the table a lot of topics, some that you're kind of used to, some that you'll be kind of new to. I think that we're going to be able to share her brain a little bit and, explore some paranormal things that we might have scratched the surface on a little bit on the show, but maybe haven't delved deeper into. But it's just, I think it'll be something that you'll have to wait till 2024 to unfortunately kind of, get down that rabbit hole. So once again, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you all next week. We got some cool things happening, and then we may or may not do something for the holidays. I don't know. We're going to think about it, but I'm not going to hold the Legends 2 working in December, only because I really want to make sure that everybody has some time off to recharge. I think we've all earned it. It's been a tumultuous year for all of us. And I want everybody to kind of come into 2024, supercharged and ready to, give the best content possible. And I feel like January is a month where you just kind of want to stay inside and do this stuff. I feel like usually like the spring and summer is when people want to get out and they're like, yeah, fuck this podcast. But, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Tune in next week. We love y'all, and we'll see you then. Bye, everybody. Take care of yourselves. You guys want to say bye?
Bye.